Have you ever felt like life is something you're just, well, waiting for?
Hmm.
Like the present moment isn't quite the main event, but maybe just a holding pattern, a precursor to some better future version of things.
Oh, definitely. I think many of us know that feeling.
Maybe you're waiting for a new job or a relationship or, even just the weekend.
Hmm.
It's a surprisingly common feeling, isn't it? That sense of living in the waiting room.
It truly is that feeling that real life, or maybe happiness, fulfillment, whatever you call it, is just over the horizon, always dependent on something else changing first.
Exactly. And the question that really grabbed us in the source material for this deep dive is,
Yeah.
what if that constant state of putting things off, deferring the present, what if that's the very thing holding us back?
What if assuming today is just a stepping stone is actually making us miss everything?
Right. What if we're missing the whole point by always looking ahead?
Well, we've been digging into this really fascinating essay that tackles this future-focused mindset head-on. It presents a pretty radical idea about the power, the reality that only exists right now in the present moment.
Okay. So our mission today then is to unhack the core insights from this piece. We want to understand why focusing on now isn't just some, nice philosophical idea.
But maybe the only way to actually live our lives fully.
Yeah, and just how much we might be letting slip through our fingers when we keep sort of postponing our own experience.
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Sounds good. So the essay kicks off by hitting on a really fundamental human challenge, our difficulty with discomfort, just being uncomfortable.
Okay.
It points out how many of us, we struggle to just be with unpleasant feelings,
Mhm.
and how easily bad experiences can end up overshadowing or even like canceling out the good ones.
That really rings true, doesn't it? It's like one bad day or one tough week can convince us the whole thing is off track.
Exactly. And this difficulty, this aversion to discomfort, the essay suggests it leads us to mentally label big chunks of our lives not as life, but as mere precursors.
Precursors, meaning,
Meaning just unavoidable bits we have to get through to reach the real good stuff later on.
okay, like the waiting room again.
Precisely. And here's where the essay lands a pretty heavy warning.
Hmm.
When you stack up enough of those precursor days, just day after day of waiting,
Uh,
the result isn't just that you've delayed things, it's that your entire life basically becomes a waiting game.
wow.
That feeling it mentions, that nagging, lingering need to escape the present, that becomes your default setting.
Your whole life defined by waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a heavy thought. It sounds like it connects to that cultural story we often tell ourselves, the one the essay pushes back on.
Which one is that?
The idea that life is this straightforward journey, like moving from darkness steadily towards some guaranteed light, ending in a neat, happily ever after once you've sort of paid your dues with suffering.
Ah, yes. The linear path to perfection. The essay argues reality is, much messier than that.
Yes, yeah, how?
It's not a straight line. It's full of in and out, lots of gray areas. You have days where you feel, as it says, so far back you can't believe you let yourself get there.
Yep.
And those are mixed unpredictably with days where you forget you were ever miserable to begin with. It's all jumbled together.
Because this constant swirl, not a clear progression, and the real danger, according to the essay, is what happens then.
The danger is getting stunted by this, basically getting stuck, being paralyzed because you're afraid of moving forward into potential difficulty, but you're also terrified of going back into past discomfort.
So you're frozen.
Exactly. And the essay is really blunt here. It says this paralysis is the only guaranteed way that it will ruin you. Staying stuck between hoping for the future and fearing the past, that's the actual trap.
Okay, so if that neat linear story is not just wrong, but actually harmful, what is the fundamental reality of life, according to this essay?
This is really the core of it. The essay argues that life isn't a destination we're heading towards. It's not a path even. It's fundamentally just a succession of nows.
A succession of nows.
Yeah, just one present moment after another, adding up. That's it.
That seems simple.
Simple but profound, because the point the essay drives home is that this unfolding series of present moments, this succession of nows, is literally all we have in the end.
All we have.
There isn't some future state that's going to be more real or more valuable than this moment right now.
Okay, wow. So the call to action that comes from that is Pretty direct then. It says, what we see in the experience is what we have to appreciate before we're lifted away from the monotonous routine. You
Yeah.
have to engage with this moment, whatever it holds.
You have to, because the alternative, as the essay frames it, is, well, stark. The alternative is that we cease to exist. We're done.
Cease to exist. How does it mean that?
Not literally dying, but ceasing to exist within the moments themselves. We let them pass by, unlived, unexperienced, often because the discomfort in them makes us feel like we're, backtracking from that perfect, pain-free future we've imagined.
Right. It's like we end up creating, as the essay puts it, a bad life out of a few bad experiences.
How so?
By constantly measuring the present against this, mental checklist of prerequisites for happiness. If the checklist isn't ticked off right now, we just mentally discard the moment. We check out.
Exactly. Which leads right into how the essay talks about happiness itself. It argues happiness is not a contrived mental process that you allow yourself in when things are thought to be right. It's not a reward you get later.
It's not something you unlock after completing the checklist.
No.
Hmm.
It's described simply as an experience, an emotion. And the critical takeaway, the real mic drop moment in the essay is this. All you have is right now to experience it.
Happiness is available now or not at all?
Essentially, yes. It's experienced in this moment, not waiting in some future one.
All you have is right now. That really cuts through all the noise of future planning and worrying, doesn't it?
It does. And the essay suggests that society, maybe unintentionally, often reinforces these patterns of delaying our lives.
How does society do that?
Well, it points to a couple of things. One is that sort of happily ever after entitlement. We feel after we've suffered like we're owed a perfect future because we went through something tough.
Right, like cosmic compensation.
Yeah. And alongside that, there's this pervasive idea that the real joy is in planning for tomorrow rather than actually experiencing today.
And this is where the essay brings in that really relatable example, doesn't it? The whole online inspiration thing.
Exactly. The trend of using platforms like, say, Tumblr or Pinterest for inspiration, creating boards filled with images of what we want, hope for, and are inspired by.
We all do that to some extent, I think.
For sure. And the essay acknowledges, it's lovely to look at those things, to dream, to decide what you want, but then it asks the kicker question. How many people actually do anything about it? How many actually get up and get them? Even something as simple as a pretty coffee and book to read by a windowsill. Something small, even.
Oof. Yeah, the essay suggests the reality for many of us is kind of the opposite, doesn't it?
It does. It says, instead of acting, we get up to complain about not having the lives we dream of and carry on day after day, rinse and repeat.
So we stay stuck, dreaming of the Pinterest board but living the same routine.
Stuck between the dream and the difficult reality of the present, which loops right back to the essay's central urgent message.
Which is?
Now is all we have, my friends. You have to choose now.
Choose now. What does that actually look like? To fully live in the heartbreaking reality that is what you see and perceive in this moment, what does that mean in practice?
Well, the essay describes this reality not as some ideal state, but as the mess, the beautiful schisms that make for wars and love and peacemaking and harmony and change.
So embracing everything, the good, the bad, the complicated.
Exactly. The full spectrum of human experience that's actually happening now, not in some imagined future.
It even takes it down to the most basic level, right? Talking about just breathing.
Yeah, it mentions the rawness of being so low some days that all you can muster up as your purpose is just to keep breathing and then realize that's all there is either way.
So even in the absolute worst moments, just existing, just breathing in this moment, that is the reality. That's what's real.
That's it. Recognizing that the fundamental now is still just the act of being here. And shifting to that perspective, the essay suggests, opens up huge potential.
Potential for what?
Well, it offers this idea. Maybe it is about diving into the deep end and letting now be more than just enough.
More than just something to get through.
Right, that maybe things are only ever as boring and mundane as we let them be. Our perception of this moment has enormous power over how we experience it.
And the promise there is, if we embrace the now.
The promise is that we might discover mysteries and experiences and fascinatingly foreign parts of life that we won't see until we take a step out on the wild side.
The wild side.
Yeah, the side of us that isn't concerned about tomorrow. That wild side is really just the courage to fully show up for the reality of right now, whatever it looks like.
That's a pretty fundamental shift in how we relate to time, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to our own lives.
It really is a powerful invitation.
Absolutely. So just to kind of wrap this up, This essay makes a really compelling case, I think, for why waiting for life to begin is maybe the surest way to miss it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
It shows how focusing constantly on some future happily ever after, or just being paralyzed by the fear of discomfort, keeps us from seeing that life is only ever happening as this succession of present moments.
One now after another.
Yeah. And by choosing to actually inhabit the now, with all its messiness, its challenges, its beauty, that's where we find the potential for real experience.
Mm.
And maybe, surprisingly, that's where happiness actually lies, available only in this moment.
It's a complete reframing, really, shifting from future gazing to present living.
Definitely something to chew on. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you to consider. If now is truly all you have, what small part of this moment, maybe uncomfortable, maybe surprising, maybe just ordinary, what part of this moment could you choose to fully inhabit right now?